Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors and professionals, those who are listening, watching from the field of arts, commerce, science and engineering, the most honorable President Pensioners Modi ji, respected ministers and doctors, advertisers, administrators and advisors, reverend fathers and mothers, affectionate sons and daughters, I, Dr. Rakesh from USA, heartily cordially welcome all of you. As you know that ending of the 2023, how we have celebrated different days of this year, it has become a record history of our past. So, in all the holy languages, we study, there is a history behind them. Any language that we start to learn, it has a great devotion and dedication of our astronomers, astrologers, freedom fighters, free thinkers, those who came first on this land. All over the world, our India is the only country unity in diversity. In all different cultures, climates, ecology and economics, we have so many similarities and resemblances. Feel and have with us always, everywhere, from north to south and east to west. Our country is full of variations, adversities, diversities. It is a great blessing of God our Lord, who has created this unique country. So, dear friends, we cannot and we can never forget blessings and grace of Lord. He who was, he who will. He is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, Almighty Lord, always live with us. If we pray to Lord, pray to God, He never leave us alone. In our own holy scriptures of our holy land, that was written in the presence of our holy forefathers, foretellers, forecasters, those who came first on this land, they made us able to understand the nature by having the relativity and connectivity with the nature. We feel the presence of Lord or God. Dear friends, our all holy religions that was started by our holy forefathers, and starters, initiators, beginners of the different caste, color, creed and language. Wherever they born, they were totally influenced by culture, caste, language and their surroundings. They were totally influenced by them, and wherever they got birth, it became their place of Lord or God. We should feel the presence of Lord with having 100% present sense of mind. In some words, is, am, are. These are very simple words of English grammar. But we feel the utmost devotion and dedication of our soul towards the super spiritual power of Lord. As per the analysis and observation, it is found that all holy religions, time to time, day by day, year by year, month by month, differently they were started. In our Hindu religion, we read our ancient culture through the mirror of the Vedas, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata. First and foremost thing about our culture and civilization that is to be known by everyone. Our Hindu mythology is the base of all holy cultures of the holy world. Dear friends, we should not feel narrow, inferior, backward, frustrated and depressed, because a super spiritual power of God always give us the presence of Lord or God. Our body is made by 5 elements: air, fire, soil, sky and water. And this is the common concept of all our holy religions of this holy land. We feel the presence of Lord in our air, fire, soil, sky and water. Even where there is not the presence of these 5 elements, we have the existence of Lord with us always. As per the analysis of Swami Vivekananda, you have read in the history. And when we think about the 14th, 15th and 16th century period, that is known as Renaissance period in English literature. In this period, we study so many initiators, beginners and starters. As Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj born in 1469, in the same century, 15th century period, Vasco da Gama discovered India in 1498. And in the 16th century period, we study there was the birth of William Shakespeare in 1564, who died in 1616. These are the important dates of the history that give us many solutions of the many problems. We should remember our past traditions, conventions, rituals, and we should keep ourselves associated, related, and connected with such incidents and events that happened personally with our lifestyles. According to time, place, and action, we have observed these things. Dear friends, our Indian culture and civilization is the oldest one. It has faced a lot of exploitations, injustice, but it has become the most tolerated land of the world. If we are a true patriotistic and nationalistic person, we must be positive. We must recollect and remember those incidents that happened in 16th century. It was the first battle of Panipat in 1526. Then there was second battle of Panipat in 1556. All these happened in 16th century period. So our 14th, 15th and 16th century period, this period was the period of starters, winners and initiators. Culturally, climatically, socially and literally, even scientifically, our all holy religions are known as the mega science. Fundamentally and basically, if we try to think about our past, we will know that our all holy religions, in all holy religions, all holy scriptures that were written are the form of mega science. Later on, there was the different subjects were discovered, divided in the different forms. Dear friends, as the time grows, according to the centuries, we feel many changes in our history, literature. Not only these subjects, philosophy, which has been the most ancient, basic subject of study. On that basis, we read that there were so many inventions and innovations comparatively within this time. If we analyze, our holy scriptures claim that there were so many personalities in the different fields. They made us able to understand the realities of life. So, no doubt, in the presence of our present Prime Minister, our country has brought many changes, culturally, basically, fundamentally. As we feel diversities, adversities in the climate, likely that we have so many changes in our technologies. There was a time when we go through the history in 19th and 20th century period. That was the time of revolution in industrialization. all the countries of the world were suffered from this highest peak point of exploitation. Ultimately, there was first battle started by our Indians in 1887, in 1857. Dear friends, this is the Indian land. It has produced, generated, operated, developed many such philosophers, freedom fighters, free thinkers, messengers. And our Indian land gave birth to Swami Vivekananda and Mahatma Gandhi in 1869. In this period, we read in 19th century there was full of exploitation and injustice. And our Indian land welcomed all, thanked all. By the grace or blessings of the Lord, gradually in 1885 we read there was the establishment of Congress in India. Later on, we study in 1893, Swami Vivekananda, who went to the USA, addressed, appealed and advocated to the worldly people. I made them realize, my brothers and sisters of the America, this was the greatest personality of our Indian Hindu mythology, who produced and introduced to the worldly people cultural purities. Dear friends, this was the ending of the 19th century period and starting of the 20th century period. Our President Narendra Modi ji, whose role model is Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, who left many works for our Indian freedom fighters, for our Indian scholars, for our Indian leaders, to do something better, nicer, finer, greater for the society and nation. We see that in history, 20th century period. First time, in 1913, it was Rabindranath Tagore who was provided first Nobel Prize winner for writing the literature. While writing his literature, Rabindranath Tagore wrote, "Where the mind is without fears, heaven of freedom, Gitanjali." These were his important scriptures. Just after 1 year in 1914, there was the starting of First World War, and it ended in 1918. During this time, Gandhiji was fully instrumental because Mahatma Gandhi in 1915 came in India, in Champaran and Surat of Gujarat, Maharashtra, for assisting to the laborers, fighting for them, to provide them justice. He fought for the poor people of our society, downtrodden, deserted, needy people of our society. At that time, There was dehumanization. There was no humanity. So, during this time, Gandhiji affronted well, sacrificed his luxuries and comfortabilities, even basic things of his life. He participated with the common man of the common people of our society. Later on, we see very miserable, fearful condition of our motherland. So by going through this whole episode of the drastic situation of our Indian motherland, we read that from 1918 to 20, Gandhiji started non-cooperation movement in India. From 1920 to 22, it was a movement which was started by Mundans as Khilafat movement. At that time, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru came after completing his study from Cambridge with a collaborative venture of Mahatma Gandhi. He took an oath and started different type of missions for British people. Gandhiji started different roundtable conferences. Ultimately, we read that at the international level in 1933, it was Germany and Italy. There was the tyranny, dictatorship, Hitler and Mussolini. They started a revolution under their over nationalistic and over patriotistic feelings. In 1938 became the starter of the Second World War. During this time in India, there was a great personality, Vallabhbhai Patel, who established different states on the basis of language. Earlier there were many riyasts in India, and it was a great effort, endeavor provided by Vallabhbhai Patel, whose statue our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has built in Gujarat as a statue of victory. So we must know the history behind the different development works of our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. What happened in 1942? We see and we read that Subhash Chandra Bose, who made National Army by saying that, give me blood, I'll give you freedom. Give blood and take freedom. In the same years, Gandhiji started Quit India movement. So by their collaborative and collective efforts, India nearness of the Second World War. In 1945, at the international level, Japan faced such inhuman or dehumanization of the Americans, when the America dropped atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 6th August and 9th August. So there was the stoppage. This was the ending of the Second World War. Consequently, the USA was defeated and the USSR was in power up to 1990. What happened at that time? We see that up to 1990, Russia was in full of political powers. And later on, after 1990, we read the USA, the Americans are in full of power, veto power. But dear friends, when we read our Indian history, we find that we have many spiritual values, social values in our country. Peace, prosperity, humanity. These are the values which is only kept by the Indian land. Up to this time, our India is the only country with having a great message of humanity for the worldly people. In the presence, sense of mind, with 100% present sense of mind, we feel that by our present Prime Minister Modi ji, in 1914, India has taken many initiatives, uncounted, numberless initiatives. Later on, he started Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana for providing, for regenerating and rehabilitating our youngsters. It was the great dream. Dear friends, we see that in this year, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, whose statue was built in Delhi in the form of liberty. Many initiatives has been taken by our President Prime Minister Modi ji. On 1st of October, there was a launching of 5G. So these are the greatest initiatives that are being taken for regenerating, rehabilitating our nation. In the different states, different rulers are also exerting well for doing so. And the greatest achievement of our nation is the winning of our 125 crore people from Corona. Now India has become the manufacturer and exporter of such things in the different fields of agriculture, industry, means of communication, means of transportation, post offices, railways, navy, air force, ND. The biggest thing that we can calculate, that is the revolution in information technology. Our common man of our village has become the greatest user of the online transactions. In this digital world, we have become active and alert, spiritually as well. Dear friends, all the social sites YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Google starters, those who are working in the foreign countries, in England and the America, basically they belong to India. They know this thing, that if the speed, accuracy, connectivity, relativity is so convenient of this online programs or digital programs, our every citizen of this world has become the best user of these social sites. No doubt every technology has merits and demerits behind them. There are some disadvantages they have behind them. But Indian spiritual values does matter behind them. Ethical and moral values of our nation. The real learning in the field of educational technology required creativity and imagination, not by learning through recordings, downloadings, copying and other sources. So if we are the true inventor and innovator of the field, then we must be the imaginator. By becoming a creator and imaginator, we can enforce our different fields of our nation. So dear friends, we have to take an oath to remember the world, our nationalistic and patriotic values that will help us in understanding the speed of our soul. If the man's mind, which is so powerful, that can know about the wayward things of the world, unseen, unread, unspoken, unlearned things can be seen, read, just by using digital technologies. As per the analysis of Swami Vivekananda, we read that our country has the true power. Return to the Vedas, return to the nature, return to the childhood. In returning and in we have a great power, dear friends. So we must be the best user of our returnings for enhancing the talents of our youth. It is very necessary to change the daily routine and the best time of the day to be provided to the God or Lord presence of holy spiritual power of God early in the morning time between 2 to 5. That will really bring a great change from the new year. Everyone, those who are living at home, work at home, they have felt that everything in the form of technology we have inside of the human body. If this mind is so creative, subjective, objective in the different ways, then who is the maker of this mind? That spiritual power, that supreme God. We must try to research. All researchers, discoverers, those who are studying in the different universities all over the world, in India and abroad, in the University of Atlanta, Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, and Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard. In the different universities, our scholars are studying But the true research, that is the research on our spiritual values of our nation, that will provide them, that will give them fundamentals and basics of this spiritual world. So, to create, to generate, to operate something new and better for the humanity, we must think that humanity is our caste, humanity is our religion. And behind them, there we have humanistic power, humanism behind them. We should never forget. Dear friends, thank you very much for your presence today. May God bless all of you. We try to pray for everyone. For the new year, may bring goodnesses, may bring humanity, may bring happy wishes for all the worldly people. Thank you. Nice to see all of you. Nice to talk to you. May God bless all of us. Thank you, friends, brothers and sisters, whether you are one or whether you are one in all or all in one. We are all the rays of that one sun. We are the waves of that sound. We are the rays of that light. Who is one, who was one, and who will one. May God bless all of us for the next year. Thank you. Nice to talk to you. Nice to listen to you.